Hello, and thanks for having me today. I was very lucky last year to participate in the event in Lisbon, and it struck me then, this question of Planetiers. What does it mean to be a Planeteer? And I never got around to asking that question, but in the lead up to this event, it struck me that just exploring that might have some value, but not just from the point of view of an individual, but also from the point of view of a company. I spend a lot of time working with companies to support them to be more environmentally and socially responsible. Next year, I'll have spent 25 years working as a social entrepreneur, supporting businesses to do better. And leading up to this, I thought that this could be an opportunity to reflect very much on the last 2 years of my working life, where I've been working on a project in Ghana to introduce responsible regenerative agricultural practices as part of a project in partnership with the next speaker, Chris Langwallner from What If Foods, where we are trying to work with local communities there to introduce regenerative practices so that What If Foods, which Chris is going to talk about, is able to bring raw materials into its product in a way that's good for the planet. We hear a lot about plant-based, whereas what Chris is going to talk about is how to be a planet-based company. And together over the last 2 years, we've been trying to implement that in Ghana. But it's not just my experience in Ghana that I want to share with you today. It's also my reflections since 1999 when I set up my first non-profit foundation to support companies to stop environmental destruction and human rights abuses. I want to bring all that experience to explore this question of what does it mean to be a planetary company, but through the lens of the experience of the last 2 years in Ghana. And I was very lucky, through my network, I got to meet Chris. He was at that stage developing these magnificent products that he's going to talk about, which relied on Bambara groundnuts, this amazing little forgotten crop in Africa. It's a legume, it puts nitrogen back into the soil, so it's naturally regenerative. He was at that stage just buying it from traders. And he said, I don't want to just buy it from traders. I want to get to know the farmers who make the product. I want to get to know their soils, their families, and I want to have a long-term partnership with these people. And I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good to me. So in December 2021, I went to Ghana for a week and met with a number of communities there. And it was a fascinating introduction. I've worked in about 60 countries, but I'd never been to Ghana before. And it struck me just how poor and desperate some of these farmers were in the northern part of Ghana. And that also shocked me because it's famous for having many aid projects, many NGO programs over decades to support people like those that I was meeting. And yet here they were in desperate straits with very little education opportunities for their children, a health infrastructure that was pretty much non-existent, sanitation, water, all of these things in very desperate ways. And yet there'd been millions and millions of government programs, NGO programs and donor programs there. What had gone wrong? I don't know. But as I travelled around meeting these communities, they expressed an interest to work with us. They know Bambara, they can grow Bambara. It's native there. And in the last community, just as we were getting ready to leave, one of the farmers put up his hand. Everyone else had been quite polite. He was polite, but he was very direct. And he said, we've seen hundreds of companies come through here, offering us this, offering us that. We take action, we plough fields, we plant crops, we fell trees, we get ready to do all sorts of things, and we never see them again. Why are you guys going to be any different? I thought, well, that's a pretty good challenge. And I could have said to him, oh no, we are different. But on what basis? All I could say to him was that, well, you can only judge us by our actions. And I can tell you all of the things about how we're going to be different, but I want to see you again and again over the coming year, I hope over the coming 30 years, and then you can tell us whether you think we're different or not. He thought that was a fair enough answer. I left, spoke to Chris, went back in February of 2022, and have been a lot of times in Ghana working there with our partner, a fantastic Ghanaian entrepreneur called Mashoud Fasheni and his company as our counterpart to reintroduce, because the Bambara just wasn't one of these, it's a local crop, but no one was growing it because no one was buying it. And they moved all of their farming over to these cash crops. The farmers would grow it. The traders would come, make them buy the seed, the fertilizers, the pesticides, the herbicides. They'd spray all these things on their crops, and at the end of the year, the traders would return, take the value of all of those inputs from the crop, pay them a tiny price, rob them, steal at least half of their crop, so that for 4 or 5 months of the year, the farmers live in starvation. 40% of the children in the area where we work, aged 0 to 5, are suffering malnutrition and are stunted. This seemed an opportunity to do better. So we went around, we spoke to 25 communities. We spoke to the farmers there. We said, right, we're going to get started. We're going to bring the seed, and we're not going to make you pay for it. We're going to give you that seed. And we will come back through the season. We're not just going to leave you alone. We'll be here. We'll give technical assistance. We'll work closely with you. The farmers started. We'd give them training on using organic pest repellent that they could harvest from the trees in their community. They didn't have to buy expensive chemicals to put on their soils that had been degraded and destroyed. There's no life in the soils after so many decades of intensive agricultural production. Through that, we got to realise that there was just basically very little education, water, health, sanitation, infrastructure in these communities. So we started to help there, not in a major way, but we bought education material for the farmers and for the farmers' children. We supported some schools, we supported equipment for health centres where women hadn't seen proper equipment for them to give birth in a safe way, ever. There was great rejoicing when we were able to bring some of these into the communities. In one place, the doctor said they hadn't seen paracetamol for 4 years, just paracetamol. We looked at the farmers, and all of the other traders call the farmers our farmers. These are our farmers. They grow for us. And in a place where the slave trade had ravaged the communities so long ago, suggesting that we own the farmers was not something that we chose to do. So we call them our partner farmers. And that's an important distinction, and words matter, because as soon as you see these people as your partners, you treat them in a different way. So the season unfolded, and many of the partner farmers didn't believe we'd be coming back at the end of the year. Even though we'd given them the seed, we were there, we were present with them the whole time. We worked, and we did come back. And we bought the seed, and we bought all their seed. And through this process, the farmers, who had been a bit, not really sure and a bit cynical, said to us, no one has ever worked with us like this before. And I thought, well, what a tragedy. But what an opportunity to go forward. And that's what we've done this year. This year, it's our second season. Last year, we worked with 980 farmers. This year, 7,000 farmers have just... Oh, my mic, there it is, it's back. And so to look back on this experience, combined with what I've done over so many years with other companies, when I ask myself, what does it mean to be a planetary company? We heard in the last presentation about certification. We've seen, over the last decades where companies talked about corporate social responsibility, sustainability, now regenerative behaviour, certification, standards. I think all these things are interesting, but they can get in the way. And what I've learned over the last 2 years, which just reinforces my experience of the last 25 years working with businesses to help them be more responsible, is that it's actually quite simple to be a planetary company. I don't know why so many companies have difficulty with it. The real essence is to just be human and to treat people with trust, respect them, bring compassion and humility. We don't know everything. understand these people, work closely with them. And ultimately, the very, very simple thing that I would say to be a planetary company is to be kind. Be kind to the people that you're working with. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to all of the other species that you interact with. And ultimately, be kind to the Earth. And that's how you be a planetary company. Thank you.